Good morning, everybody. Happy New Year. What a great way to spend the morning, but to do a little crafting with all of your crafty friends from Tailored Expressions. If you don't know who I am, I'm Heather Nichols, and I'm with Tailored Expressions. Now, I'm not in the main office in Des Moines, Iowa. I am in Minnesota, where it's very cold, which I know it's cold a lot of places. And we're gonna have some fun today doing some crafting. I'm watching the chat as you all came in, and lots of people talking about how chilly it is this morning. So yes, it's cold here. I think when I looked at the thermometer before I came out to where my crafty area is, it said it was 10 degrees outside. We have a little bit of a wind chill. That's actually a little warmer than it has been. It's been quite a snowy, wild winter here. We had, the last couple years, we have a pretty mild winters, and this winter is making up for all of that. So good morning to all of you. I was laughing because, again, you're all talking about how cold and frigid it is, which I'm totally there with you. But Maureen in Hawaii, I believe you probably are a little bit toastier than the rest of us. So I am jealous of your warmness and sunshine. So yes, good morning to all of you, and Happy New Year. Can you believe it? 2026, and we have so many fun things in store for you, because January alone is going to be so much crafty goodness. So I hope you're ready for that. So, oh my gosh, Rachel's saying it's freezing in New Jersey and a slight snow squall. Snow squalls are the worst. That is the worst, when you just can't see anything. We had a blizzard. We weren't in a blizzard morning, but it was blizzard conditions last Sunday, and we just stayed in, and you just could see the wind blowing just sideways and snow, and you couldn't see anything. So yeah, so good morning to all of you. Cuddle up, put on extra sweaters, put the space heater in your craft room so you can, that is the one thing. I do like winter. Winter is one of my more favorite things, but it is cold. Stay inside, get your warm beverages, do your crafting. It's the perfect time of year for that. So let's talk about what's going on at Tailored Expressions lately. It's been a little bit quiet, but we have a sale going on. We just expanded our warehouse, and so we are doing a sale to help us move less into our new space, because they have a lot of stuff in that warehouse to move to the new space. I am so excited to see it next time I go down. Probably for Virtual Stamp Toy will be the next time I go down and I get to see the new warehouse. I'm very, very excited. So that's just gonna be opening up all sorts of new exciting things for us to have that extra space. So yes, I'm excited for that. So help us move less. So there's sales in the selected category on the website that you can save. I think it's up to 50% on, depends on the products. And of course that's in stock only. We don't do rain checks. So if you see it and it's there and you want it, get it. So, and so I know there's been questions too about things that if they're on sale, are they going to be gone? Not necessarily. Maybe. I don't know all the ins and outs of exactly which products, but some things will be restocked and some things will be moving on, so we can bring new things in. So what else is going on? Oh, Taylor was on Tuesday showing you the new freebie that comes with every order. Do you guys like that new series that we are coming out with this year? They are adorable. It's the Critter Crew. You saw our first critter, that cute little turtle that Taylor shared on Tuesday. I've seen a lot of them, and I think you're going to have so much fun this year with all of the cute little critters. Who doesn't love a little critter? And you can use these little critters for everything. And of course, we're going to have a lot of fun with that and have all sorts of accessories for the critters and things like that. So yeah. Matt just saying, you like winter? Well, we can still be friends. It's just, it rates up there a little bit higher. I love snow. I do not like the icy roads. I love the snow. I love the things you can do out there. So yes, I do like winter. I like other seasons too, but yes, winter. Okay, so again, let's go back to the sale. It's like squirrel with the chat going up here, and I can see the stuff you guys are saying. So the sale is going on. That goes through Monday. So through the day on Monday, I think it's like 11:59 Central Time, that you're going to be able to take advantage of that sale. And of course, the Critter Crew starts today, and the thing that we're going to craft with today, which is the new $100 gift with purchase for January. And we'll talk more about that in just a little bit. So if you missed Taylor's video and got to get all the information about the new little Critter Crew, make sure you check out that. I love the card she made where he's in the balloons and he's floating away. So cute. So yeah, so make sure you check that out if you have not already. And of course, we always have all sorts of fun inspiration showing up on our social media. I do have a few cards that I created. So these are using products that are included in the sale. So this will be your eye candy. I do have a sneak peek too. So we have lots of eye candy. I talked about this on my last live if you missed it. When I was in design school, I had a professor that before each of our classes would just show us pieces of art. Kind of like, he called it, here's your eye candy. And it just was something to get you inspired for whatever we were talking about or for your projects that you were doing. And I'll be honest, I use my Instagram in that way. If you think about it, you might do too. You're collecting all of the different designers and friends and card makers and things that you're interested in, so that's the stuff that's showing up in your social media feed. It's your eye candy to get you inspired to do your crafts and just inspired for whatever it might be, because there's all sorts of things out there. So my first card, and I know this was on Facebook, so you might have seen it there, and if you stopped by my blog, you saw that too, is this card, and this is using, it was with the butterfly set, and it just flew out of my head. I want to say Butterfly Dreams. It's a clear stamp set, and it has the little clear stamps to create the butterflies. So I created 3 little butterflies. There's wings and bodies and cute little patterns to put on your butterflies. And then I set the little butterflies on a little branchy thing. I think this is like fresh flowers, it's a die set, like one of the gardeny die sets. Any little branchy thing would be perfect for setting butterflies on. Some flowers, there's that tiny Twinkles embossing folder back there. So there is your eye candy with the butterfly dreams, I believe, butterfly dreams. Somebody will correct me, I know if I did it not quite right. So this is a little bit of non-winter inspiration. I love Christmas, but I am ready to move on to some of the other crafty things that we have going on, like Valentine's is coming up next. We'll talk about that in a minute. The other thing that is big this year, it is in the United States, it's our 250th birthday. And this card actually uses a Christmas set, but it is a patriotic theme. And of course that goes right along perfectly with the 250th birthday of the United States. So here is, it's my little Let Freedom Ring card. This is actually the Deck the Halls Crate and Quad stencil. And there's a section on it with stars. So I stenciled the stars with red, white, and blue. Actually it's blue cheese, blue corn, cherry pop, mulled wine, and I added a little glitter on that blue cheese. Added some silver sparkle stars. So even though that's a Christmas set, there's some versatility there with some different things that you can do. And if you check out Emily Miglowski's blog, sorry Emily, I just totally smushed your name, I don't know. She used one of the sections on there has bells on it, and she made it is a great wedding card. I love it. That card was amazing. So if you have the Deck of the Hall set, you have more things that you can create besides just Christmas. So check it out. Look at your other sets. You have images in those sets that you can use for different times of the year. It just expands what you can do with what you have. Or if you're looking for a set to purchase that gives you bigger possibilities than just the theme, that's one that's great. That Deck the Halls Crate and Quad stencil. So that's that. And of course, next week I brought up that it's Valentine's because it's going to be time to get crafting for Valentine's. So our Valentine's release is coming your way next week. Saturday, of course, will be the release reveal if you're in the Fans of Tailored Expressions Facebook page. So if you're not, you should be there so that you can get all of the we do some extra little things in there. So if you're watching us on our YouTube channel or if you've seen our regular Facebook page, there's more there. We have a great community of people. So if you want to see early release reveals and other things that we don't just show to everybody, there are challenges and things like that too. Plus the people in the community share ideas that they're creating with our products as well. Go there. It's such a great place. I love all of you that are there. I have so much fun. I don't always have time to comment on everything, but I look at those projects and I am inspired by what everybody is sharing. So, like I said, Valentine's is coming. I got to get my little bag of treats here, I guess. Speaking of treats, you know we like to set you up for little treat containers and things like that. Woo! What do you think of that? They're so cute, you guys. And you might have noticed some tags on there that I think you will have some fun making. Get your simple tags die out. That's all I'm saying about that. So that's one. Here is another one. This is actually a peek at when we do some of our bigger releases, we have some free gifts with purchase. So this is some of the products that you're gonna find with that. So there's another card for you for Valentine's Day to inspire you. All right, this is my favorite one because I'm excited. I had a lot of fun designing things for this release, and this was really, really fun when we were trying to come up with themes for Valentine's Day. So I'm gonna give you a peek of the cards that I made. So I designed these sets, and I'll have a video on next Thursday, so a week from today, a regular video, not a live, showing how I created these cards. So take a look at those. Oh, I'm so excited. Chocolates for Valentine's Day, right? So that's coming next week. So make sure that you stop by the Fans of Tailored Expressions Facebook page this weekend to get the release reveal on Saturday. And then next Tuesday, Taylor will be live at 10 a.m. Central to show you and talk to you about all things Valentine. So I'm excited about that. And we're still going to talk about more Valentine today because we're talking about that $100 gift with purchase. I'm going to pop up a graphic so you can take a look, closer look at the cards that I'm going to create. So the gift with purchase for January, when you spend $100 or more, is the Sweetheart Blooms Layering Stencil. And it creates this lovely floral heart kind of design. And we're using it for Valentine's Day today. But man, you could use that beautiful floral heart for, I mean, so many different things. I mean, just because wedding, of course, Valentine's, just I love you cards and that sort of thing. So that is during the month of January, that this is the set that you can earn. And I love that we do that here at Tailored Expressions because it just, I don't know, I just love it. I love that you can get an extra little surprise when you have a little fun in the store. So, are you ready to get crafting? Let's pop down to my desk here. There's those cards there. So I did these cards in 2 different colorways, and we're gonna do the pink colorway today because one of my personal kind of crafting goals for 2026 is to kind of go outside of my own personal box of like color and things like that and play with something maybe that I wouldn't maybe pick normally, if that makes sense. Not all the time, but I just want to challenge myself to be a little bit more adventurous with color. Color combinations were a big thing for me last year. That's going to continue into this year. I can tell you for sure. I have so many color combination things happening, and that's just going to help me inspire my colors as well. So typically, this is the card that I would create. I'm very traditionalist when it comes to colors for different holidays. I like Christmas red and green, of course, for Valentine's Day. I love the reds. So right away when I used this stencil set, I went right for the reds. I've got guava and cherry pop and mulled wine for the flowers on this card. And it's beautiful. I love how it turned out for sure. But I challenged myself to move into the pinks because you guys all know I am not one to use Lollipop or dragon fruit or any of those colors a whole lot or reach for them. So I made myself reach for them. We're going to reach for them today. So this card is Bubblegum, Lollipop, and dragon fruit. So let's go ahead and get started. And we are stenciling on Toffee cardstock. And of course, I love Toffee cardstock, but I know not everybody loves to use Toffee cardstock. I'm going to talk a little bit about Toffee cardstock here as we get going. What I'm showing you today, you can do on any color of cardstock. You can do it on sugar cube cardstock. You can do it on pink cardstock, whatever you want to do. So here is that Sweetheart Blooms stencil set. This set is actually a 5-layer stencil. Don't let that overwhelm you. I would break it down this way. You're gonna need kind of 2 shades of green because we're gonna do some leaves. So 2 different shades of green, and then you're gonna need to pick a group of 3 colors for the flowers. So you could pick like what I did in the reds, the guava, cherry pop, and mulled wine. You could go towards the pinks like I did with the bubblegum, lollipop, and dragon fruit. Or, you know, go into some of the purple colors and maybe pick a a run of 3 different purples, or maybe there's a blue, a group of 3 blues. But I think that's the key thing when you're looking at the stencil. 2 greens and then 3 colors that are gonna work together for your flower. Oranges would be so pretty too. You could make this fall themed. You could do, I mean, there's so many possibilities besides just the Valentine traditional colors. So we're gonna start that. We're gonna start with stencil number 1. So this is like an A2 size panel, and then it also has, if you take a look here, not this first one, but there are etched lines to help you line up your stencil on the next layers. So this one doesn't have the side guides, it has the etched kind of guidelines there, but of course the first one does not. I like to hold my stencils in place with pixie spray. You can use a tape or a magnet or whatever is your favorite to use. Pixie spray is just kind of a light adhesive that you spray on the back of your stencil. I just did it over my garbage can there. I'm lining this up on my A2 size panel, and we're gonna start with our first colors. So the first group of colors we're gonna do, I'm actually gonna do a little blending, but green tea is my main color, and then we're gonna do a little bit of shading with Brussels sprout. I'm using my Bitty blender brush, and we're gonna get in there and start applying the color. Now again, I am stenciling this on Toffee cardstock. Toffee cardstock, I am someone who likes all things kind of muted and rustic. That's just always been something I've been interested in. I have always used kind of craft or toffee colored cardstock throughout crafting, I guess. Even when I was in school for graphic design, I would choose more of that color cardstock, and how can I do that on that color cardstock versus white. It's just always been something I've gravitated towards. Toffee cardstock is definitely something that will kind of change the colors of the inks that you are using. So it just kind of mutes them. And if you think about our inks are dye-based inks. They soak into the cardstock, which means that they are going to kind of take on some of the color of the cardstock. So you'll need to expect that this green is going to soak in and it's going to kind of absorb some of that toffee color, basically. Okay, so we're going to add just a bit of shading with that Brussels sprout just on the bottom. You, of course, could just do one layer, one color. Just a touch of color kind of at the bases of these leaves to give them a little bit of shading. The question from Rachel is, does pixie spray leave residue on your paper? It can. If you have too much spray on your stencil, if you have kind of a goopy area on your stencil, yes, it can transfer to your paper. My suggestion would be spray it on and give it a few minutes just to dry before you put it on. That's going to help from the transfer of the ink. Also, sometimes if I have too much sticky on there, I'll stick it on a piece of scrap paper just to kind of stick and get some of that sticky extra off. I'll stick it on my pants. It's kind of that same idea of if you're going to use a regular piece of tape and you don't want it to stick as good. All right, stencil number 2 we have here, and this one is going to be the next set of greens. Like I said, I'm spraying a thin layer of pixie spray on the back. And everybody with your stenciling and all of the crafting, you're going to find the tools that you like the best. You guys have lots of questions for me this morning. The embossing folder on the butterfly card is the Tiny Twinkles embossing folder. I love that embossing folder. I use it for everything. So I'm lining up the second stencil here, and I use those etched alignment guides to line that up perfectly. And then the second question was, do you clean off the pixie spray each time you use it? And if not, how do you prevent it from sticking to other stuff? So I have found, since I use the alcohol, so this is the 91, 90, it's over 90%. I am kind of that rubbing alcohol to clean my stencils. This cleans the pixie spray off. So if you have this to clean off your stencils, it's going to clean your pixie spray off. Before that, I really didn't clean it off, and yeah, it would stick to things, definitely. But it didn't bother me so much. It wasn't like it was this huge issue, for me anyway. But I have found that alcohol, cleaning with the alcohol just takes it right off. Okay, so this next set of leaves, we're gonna do the Lime Zest color. So that's kind of my green tea was my first green, and lime zest is my second green. And then, like I said, I did a little shading on the green tea with Brussels sprout. And we're gonna do some shading on the lime zest as well with sweet basil. Okay. Yeah, somebody commented, it's so interesting how the colors look different on Toffee. Yes, they definitely do. So if you, for example, my biggest kind of thing was if you stencil, for example, cherry pop on to Toffee cardstock and then try to match the cherry pop cardstock, it's not the same. It works, it does coordinate, but it's not the same shade like the ink coordinates on sugar cube with it. So this is the sweet basil that I'm adding to the base of the lime zest. This is a little bit darker than the sweet basil, so I'm trying to use a little bit lighter touch so it's not so stark, I guess would be the word of a kind of transition between the colors. All right. Get that shading in there. So there's our leaves. Check that out. That little bit of shading just really adds so much dimension. Now, I'm not going to do a whole lot of shading on the flowers because I feel like how the flowers are laid out, they kind of are their own thing and didn't need a lot of extra blending, if that makes sense. Okay, stencil number 3. And I don't think there's a particular order that you have to do these colors in for the next 3 because they kind of, on each flower, it's not the same on each one. So you can, I would say you can do it whatever order you want. Again, I'm using those leaves to line up. My other little kind of signal that things are good, see this tiny little bit of color peeking where the flower kind of butts up to the leaf? You actually want that because then you know you're not going to have a gap between that flower and that leaf. The other ones aren't really butting up to anything, so they're not going to have that, but as we get going, you're going to notice, you're going to see a little bit more of that, and that's something you want. Okay, so I am going to start with Bubblegum. Bubblegum pink. Grab my blender brush for that. So let's apply the bubblegum for this layer number 3. So we're done with our leaves. We're moving on to our flowers. Thanks, Susan, about the combos. I would say too, I mean, there are some greens that they look pretty similar. I like to try to pick things that are kind of in the different areas on the green spectrum, like the lime zest is much more of a yellow green compared to the green tea, which is much more kind of a, I don't know, it definitely is more towards the blue. It's kind of a more muted green. There is our bubblegum. And remember too, as the colors dry, they change. So this color looks darker right now, and it will actually calm down as it dries. Kind of like paint and everything. Okay, Lollipop. Taylor, I'm using Lollipop. She's always very excited when I use Lollipop because I don't typically use it. Okay, so I'll line that up again. I'm using those etched alignment guides on there. And there again, you can see where this flower butts up to those other colors. You've got that peak of color kind of right on the edge where you want it to be. Grab my Lollipop brush. Put that color in. We're almost done. We have one more layer after this. I love these last 2 layers because your image just comes together. It just kind of pops. It's kind of the magic of the stencils, the layered stencils. There is that. And the last one I'm going to use is dragon fruit. Dragon fruit's a pretty intense color. You'll see when I start laying this, laying it down on my stencil. Lining it up with those leaves. So this one, as you use your colors, you kind of get used to knowing which ones are more intense. So this one I definitely start off to the side before I go in, because you can really get color that's so heavy really fast with dragon fruit. And especially with stencils, you don't want to like inundate that opening with ink, because you can actually run into some bleeding problems. So just, this is going to help avoid all of that. Basically putting it off to the side and then bringing it in. Some of the darker purples can be like that, like huckleberry and passion fruit, for me anyway. Especially when they're brand new ink pads. I had a little bit of stencil shift on there, but I think it looks just fine. So there is the finished flower. Ooh, and I got fingerprints down here, which I'm gonna show you something. We're actually gonna use this cardstock, but since I got fingerprints there, we're gonna have to do something a little bit different, which is okay because I actually did it on one of my cards. So there's your finished design, and of course I am going to add splatters because that is what I do. When I mentioned that I like all things rustic. So this, on this palette, this is the mini glass mat. I have chocolate truffle liquid watercolor, and it is dried on here, but you can kind of reactivate it with a water brush. So I'm picking up that and tapping it over my finger to add some splatters. And let's grab a paper towel. And then we're gonna add some white splatters. Susan, my mom, does craft. She's not really a paper crafter. She's a knitter. So I'm not sure she would want to join me. She's definitely very supportive in all of this stuff. My daughter has Hannah, which if you were at Stamp Joy, she was there in the in-person Stamp Joy. She loves to craft and do art, and she'll get into all the paper crafting stuff. But my mom is, I don't know that she would go on camera. Okay. I'm going to keep my splattering stuff here because I'm going to need it in just a second. So this design that is the freebie for this month actually coordinates with something that's coming up for Valentine's Day. And I have one die from that collection to show you that coordinates with it. So you'll have to go on the release reveal to see where this comes from. You actually saw more peeks of what's in this set as well. So this heart die, you'll see soon, it's available soon, and it coordinates with this heart perfectly. So I'm going to line that up around the heart. We're going to cut that out. Rachel, that is a water brush. We do not sell it at TE, but this is the water brush that I have used for years and years. There is water brushes at TE, just not this particular brand. It's the Faber-Castell. I think you can just find it right on Amazon if you want a brush like mine. So yeah, it's got the water in it, and you can also do splatters with just a brush and a cup of water too, but this is just kind of always been my go-to brush for splattering, so I always have that. All right, let me grab my die cut machine. We're gonna cut that heart out. So remember, the die does not come with the stencil. The die is part of another set that is going to be available next week. Now, when I was creating the card, I was like, this would be super cute to kind of set that down in there or something with that opening, because that heart was perfectly centered on an A2 stencil, and so this is perfect to frame for your card. So I got goobs down here, but we're just going to turn it over because we're going to use an embossing folder on this, and so even though this is probably a little bit not perfect because of being against the cutting plate on the die cut machine, we're going to emboss it, so it doesn't matter. It's going to work to go around, and because that heart is symmetrical, it totally works perfectly. So I'm going to set my heart aside. I'm going to pull out my plate so I have a sandwich for the embossing folder, and the embossing folder I'm using today is the Swiss Dots embossing folder. You can use, obviously, whatever you want for embossing folders. You could use that Tiny Twinkles one. That would be actually really pretty. So I'm going to line this up in here. This one you have to make sure it's straight. So give me a second while I get it all lined up here. I think we're about there. I like that you can see it. So then I'm like, as soon as I get it right, trying not to move everything, and we'll send this through. So the Swiss Dots is just a regular embossing folder. It's not the 3D one, so you can send it through with that regular embossing sandwich on your die cut machine. So there you go. So even though that was that back side of the cardstock, it is perfect to frame our heart. So we basically, you're not wasting any cardstock doing this like that. I love it. Okay. We're not going to cut anything else right now. We are. Oh, maybe we should cut that out now. I'm second guessing what I'm doing. We're going to do a frame around the outside of the card, one of the A2 thin frame dies in Latte cardstock. So I haven't used one of these. This is kind of a staple for me in my collection. I use these frames all of the time. So you cut out all these frames at one time. You are going to want some sort of extra shim in there, so I've got the metal shim to put in mine. It's just got so many cut lines, you need that extra pressure to get everything cut. I've got a piece of Latte cardstock here. You'll want, if you want to get that outer frame, because it goes actually right out to that A2 size, I do a little bit bigger piece of cardstock. This is just one that I had ready to go. So you have a nice tight sandwich there to cut out all of these frames. Almost not be too tight. There we go. Sometimes I get stuff just a little bit crooked in my die cut machine, which I think is what happened. I'm going to back out just a little bit. Yep, you can see that I'm crooked. Ooh, much better. So with that shim, it's really going to add that extra pressure to cut out all of those lines on there. I'm going to take this out. Set this aside for now. I'm going to grab my little, what tool am I looking for? There we go. The little craft pick tool. There's the little holes so you can kind of poke to get those to come out. I think I'm using the second one in for the card, if I'm remembering correctly. There, sometimes they come all in one big piece, but they are not doing that today. They're coming out all willy-nilly. So really, once you cut this frame, you're going to have a whole bunch of frames to use for other projects ready to go. I'm going to set that aside because I think this is the one I need. You don't need to watch me pick all those frames out of there. But I will show you, I just have one of those large size pockets for storing your stamps, and so when I have extra frames, I pop them in there. You could do, I've got all my colors together, but you could do separate colors for if you want to sort them that way, but this keeps them all together, so when I want to find frames to use on my projects, I'll just pull my packet out to go through and pick out what I need. So if you're wondering how to store those extras, there you go. Okay, I want a few splatters on this, so we're gonna just do that quick because I have to. That is the A2 thin frame cutting plate. That is what that die is called. There is one for mini slim as well, so if you make mini slim cards frequently and want a thin frame option for that, there is the mini slim size as well. It's definitely one I use. Sometimes you just need that little pop of color. That's all you need to finish off a card, and that does it. Get some white on there. Where did I get those pockets? Those are on our website. They're the simple, I believe they're called simple storage sleeves, and the size I showed you was large. We have storage sleeves in all different sizes. Do I think the heart die will work with the floral heart in the triple mini slim set? I don't know. I didn't plan for that. It's possible. I don't have that set out to check it. There are a lot of sizes in the set, that's all I'm gonna say. Okay, so we've got our heart, we've got our frame. We also need a sentiment. So let's get all our pieces and then we'll put this card together. The sentiment that I use is from the With Love stamp set. So this is a great one for Valentine. It also has a happy anniversary, which these are few and far between in sentiments, I think. So if that's a sentiment that you've been looking for, I really like the style of this one too. So that's the With Love stamp set, and you can get the anniversary. We're gonna use the Be Mine. I love the little script sentiments. I love the style of these too, but I love these so much. So we're gonna grab the stamp, the Be Mine stamp, and we're gonna grab the die too. Let me grab my little mini Misty here. And we're gonna stamp this on sugar cube cardstock. Oop, there is a link to the simple storage sleeve that I showed you. Set that in on there. And I'm going to stamp this with the Nocturne VersaFine Clair ink. So I have a nice black. This ink is definitely, it's a pigment ink, so it's a wetter ink. It takes a little bit of time to dry, so just be aware of that, but it is my go-to for sentiments. When you have a sentiment that has these kind of long, that one's hard to see, but it has the long kind of edges on it. You have to be a little bit careful with this type of ink so you don't get a smudgy line. So when I'm stamping with this, I use a light touch. So I'm inking that up. I'm trying hard not to over ink it. And then I'm just gonna press kind of towards the middle. And usually that is enough to get the impression I need without getting a big goopy end on my, when I have the long skinny line like that. So there's that. Take that out, and then I'm just going to give this a second to dry, and then we will die cut that out as well. And then I think we have everything cut out for our card. So I'm going to remove my pieces. Grab my die cut machine. Put my die back already. I'm being too efficient here. tape this in place with some removable tape. Line that up. Okay, I'm just going to pop it out of there, but it's not going to behave. So there's my little die cut sentiment. And we can put this card together. Let's move this out of the way. Okay, so we've got our pieces here, and then we also need a card base. And I could have done a Toffee card base, but I did a sugar cube card base. And my reasoning for that is there's that little peak kind of around the edge there, and it adds just a little bit of brightness to the card. When I'm using Toffee cardstock, that's always a goal, is to add a bit of brightness. All right, where's my bone folder so I can get that set down. So I want to take this part and we want to pop this up. So I'm gonna grab these 1x3 foam strips. So these are not the thin ones, these are just the regulars. And I'm gonna cut some strips here because I wanted it more than the thin foam strips. So that's why I went for these, but I didn't want it as high as the sticky strips, because those are like 1/8 of an inch tall. I did not want that tall. So I'm just gonna get a frame around the outside here, and then we're gonna add just a few extra pieces around the heart opening just to support it. Pam is saying that she's inspired to pull out Valentine's, but she's not ready. Well, it's like 6 weeks away. So when you think about that, if you get started now, you're going to be in good shape. Or pull out your stuff, get organized. So just gather everything into one place. I will do that sometimes where it's like, okay, I want to work on Valentine cards. I'm going to go find all my stuff and I'm going to create kind of a little Valentine station. And maybe you even pull, like, go and find your red glitter drops and pink glitter drops and things that will coordinate with Valentine's, and just so you're not making anything, but you're getting ready and getting inspired, kind of, if that makes sense. Okay, so I'm just adding some extra tape kind of in here. I'm being really generous with this tape, but I don't want it to sag down, if that makes sense. Do there, we're gonna hit these 2 spots, and then I think I'm gonna put a tiny piece right there. I think on the Big Shot, someone's asking about a 3D embossing folder sandwich. There's a lot of videos out there to help with that. We have some videos ourselves with our 3D embossing folders. But I think on the actual base where it kind of gives you some sandwich recipes right on one of those plates. And I believe there is a 3D embossing folder recipe there. And of course, each machine, you have to make sure and tweak it for your machine, if that makes sense. Okay, so we're gonna stick this frame down first. You're welcome, Diana. We try to help as best we can. And if you don't see something, ask. If you ask, especially in the Fans of Taylor Expressions Facebook page, or even you can email our customer service. We are happy to help you find what you need. Okay, do I have all the things off? Right, so we're going to line this up right onto the front of that. It's the exact same size as the card front. So I've got this nice kind of popped up frame on here. Then let's pop this down. So I'm going to add just regular adhesive. Where did my tape runner go? There we are. Tape runner is not taping. There we go. And again, I'm just going to pop that down into the opening, just like that. I love that look of a kind of a debossed kind of inset like that, if that makes sense. The die, Pam, is coming soon. So pay attention to the release. The reveal will be on Saturday, and next week you'll see where that heart die came from. Okay, so I'm going to stick this frame down. I'm going to just add some liquid adhesive. I am a multimedia matte person for my liquid adhesive. There are so many liquid adhesives out there. Find the one that works the best for you, the one that you like. This one just has been a favorite of mine for a very long time. See some people who agree with me in the comments that you like it too. Okay, so we've got there. Oop. Pop this right in there. It kind of works out. There's kind of dots that are spaced just perfectly. The frame just kind of falls right into place. I might still grab my magnets to hold some of this down. Just so it gets adhered into place. I have lots of these magnets. You can never have too many of these magnets on your magnet board. I probably actually have one more. I bet I do. Where are you? There you are. There, look at that. I have 6 of these magnets. I have one of these too. One of those two. Okay, so for the Be Mine, whoop, I just dropped it on the floor, hold on. I wanted it to be a little bit dimensional, so pop it up just a little bit, but of course this is such a delicate little die cut. So let's stack up a couple die cuts. I have a few extra die cuts here. Let me find all of my pieces here. Got a few extra ones. So I can use liquid adhesive for that too. But I'm going to be lazy. Just run my tape runner over that die cut. Now it's stuck to the table. There we go. When I'm doing these layers like this, I like to put the adhesive on the front. It seems to just work for me to do that. I'll line that up. So there's 2 layers, and then I'm going to add more adhesive right on top of here. I have a few splatters on my magnets, yes. If you like to splatter, that is just part of your desk decoration. My phone has splatters, my computer has splatters. I have splatters all over. I'll be done crafting and I'll have splatters on my glasses. Okay, so there I've got it where it's just a little bit thicker, kind of almost a chipboard thickness, so that's popping it up without having to cut like teeny little foam strips to put on the back there, because that is not practical. Are these mini magnets? They're in our shop. They're with kind of the glassboard accessories. I can't remember if they're called, I don't think they're called the mini magnets. These are kind of the standard ones that came out. Okay, they're probably my glue adhesive. It's like if it holds just for a minute, it really does help that liquid adhesive stick down. So I'm good now. It's not popping up like it was. Oh, except that corner. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. All right, so let's add that sentiment in there right about there. So there's that, which this is pretty, just like this. Isn't it great? I don't know if you were watching, like before I added the frame and then after I added the frame, how that changed the card. It really kind of, I don't know, kind of grounds it, I guess would be the best word. So the final thing we're going to do is I like to add just a little bit, there's a little bit of sparkle. Another thing about these are the Bits and Pieces Glossy White Rhinestones, so we're adding just a little bit of shine. They're not super sparkly, but they are faceted, so it gives you a little bit. But that white adding in with the Toffee cardstock adds a little bit more brightness to your card. So we're going to grab some of those. And I'm just going to copy what I did before. I like to set my rhinestones, or whatever embellishment I'm doing, I like to set them in place first before I commit to sticking them down. I know there's some people who will just go for it, but I like to set them first. Set them first. And when I'm designing the card, this whole process to get the little gems where I have them in the card, that is a long process. When I'm making videos for you guys, I cut that down because I sit and shuffle things around for such a long time. All right, so let's stick those down in place with a liquid adhesive. And then I've got my little Embelly Jelly pick and place tool, so it's got the little kind of wax on the bottom, so that'll pick up the gems for me without my fingers having to do it. I just replaced my wax. I had glitter stuck in it. And really the waxy stuff, I mean, it lasts such a long time. Pop these in place. A little bit more glue there. I think I got all of them. I always do the tip test to see if I got them all. All right, there we go. All finished. Cute, cute flowers. Allow that texture from the embossing folder to add just a little bit more something, I guess. Yeah. All right, let me flip you up to the top. We did it. So now I have 3 Valentine's Day cards, so I'm actually quite ahead. Although I'll send some of these down to Taylor because she likes to put them in the store down there. So if you ever get a chance to go down there, it's so much fun to go look through the design team samples that are down there. So we did the pink version of this card. This is that Sweetheart Blooms Layering Stencil that you can get with the $100 or more purchase through the month of January. So thanks guys so much for joining me today. Happy New Year. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Maybe you have the day off and that's great. My brother's coming to visit this afternoon, so that's our plans. Plus I think I might get some of my own crafting done as well. So stay in, stay warm out of the cold, and I'll be seeing you in a few weeks. Make sure you join Taylor on Tuesday for the Valentine release, and I have a video coming out on Thursday, so don't miss that. And of course, we have people going live next week too. I think Susan is next week. So thank you guys so much. Have a great weekend. Have a great new